Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55, presented by Champion Salon and Barber. To book your appointment, go to championsalonandbarber.com.
Top 5 intriguing rivalry games this weekend. It is rivalry weekend. And there are games that are intriguing on good ends and bad ends here. We'll start with the bad ones in 5 and 4, and then we'll get to the medium one, and then the 2 good ones. So that's where we're going. Number 5, the Apple Cup. Washington State versus Washington. This game did not get played last year because of COVID. And the 2 coaches in it didn't really get to coach in it because now they're both fired, and they're both these are interim coaches in the Apple Cup.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah. It's been a different, Nick Rolich got fired because he wouldn't adhere to a vaccine mandate, and Jimmy Lake got fired because, from what we heard from Softy, he was just out of control.
Yeah, and Washington State remains a job, and Washington as well, where there's not a whole lot of smoke that I've seen, especially Washington State. I mean, I've read hardly next to nothing on them and their search compared to the others. Washington, obviously I've seen Aranda's name bounced around there and maybe 1 or 2 others, but it seems like a lot of the focus is on LSU and USC, and rightfully so, because those are the jobs that could cause other dominoes to fall. But, hey, Washington State's got a chance to play for a Pac-12 title. They got a lot riding on this game because of that. They've been the better team all year. I think it's a great opportunity for Wazoo to jump up and grab one in the rivalry game. And if they don't, then, boy, what a massive missed opportunity for them. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see this game and then the fallout from it and where both these schools head as far as their new direction. Yeah.
Number 4, FSU and Florida. This game doesn't really have a name as far as I know. All the other ones have names. But FSU and Florida, both these teams are 5 and 6. And I can just tell you, someone who loves this rivalry and loved going to the game, I would sleep outside to get my student tickets at night, which we did. I promise you nobody's doing that now. I guess they changed the system, but nobody would sleep outside for a matchup between 2 5 and 6 teams, one of them who just fired their coach. And it is amazing how this game is for bowl eligibility. That's how far what was once one of the best rivalries in college football, and probably the best in terms of for about 7 to 10 years, in that the winner of this game was probably going to play in the national championship. So it was the most relevant rivalry in college football as far as the national picture went, and now.
Yeah, it's shocking. I mean, there are certain games you would set up your schedule for during the year, during weekends, during days. And that was one of them. Miami and Florida State was that was the game of the year for a long time, and not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably end up watching this just because it's FSU Florida, but I really have no desire to see this game.
It's on at 11, so Texas Tech and Baylor. That's the other thing. It's an 11 o'clock kick.
Yeah, I'm more interested in what happens after versus what happens during, quite frankly. But, I mean, it is interesting that, somebody's going to have a little extra time for the 2021 season with bowl practices and all that, which would obviously be a big deal for Mike Norvell. I wanted to ask you, by the way, are you a believer in him now?
I'm not I was on RJ Choppy's show on Saturday the other day, and he asked me about if I'm a believer, and I said if I was in a parent-teacher conference with Mike Norvell, if I was talking to his parents, I would say, listen, I'm happy with Mike's potential. He's got to work on some things, but let's work and move forward. I'm confident that he's doing the right things. It's just, how patient will people be with him to fix what was a pretty big mess that he walked into.
Let's put it this way. They may win and should win Saturday. At the same time, they at least have been competitive down the stretch. Mm-hmm. They've had a couple of nice wins. Boston College, he's fine. They're trending in the right direction.
Yeah. All right. Number 3, the Egg Bowl. Look, this one right here, pretty interesting. And look, I think Ole Miss will win this game and probably win it handily, but Mississippi State's been playing a lot better. Will Rogers has been having himself quite a go the last few weeks. So really interested to see Kiffin and Leach squaring off in a bowl of personalities for the coaches, if nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those games where the coaches are probably more interesting than the teams, but, hey, the teams are pretty good, too.
Yeah,
I mean, I've really enjoyed – I've watched more Ole Miss than I have Mississippi State, but I've watched the Bulldogs. They're a good team, and you mentioned their quarterback. He's having a hell of a year. But, yeah, Ole Miss is a lot of fun to watch. this will be fascinating just because of the Kiffin-Leach chess match, and not even the outside the line stuff and the press conferences that we may get as a result of this game, but just the chess match itself within the game, and the pure hatred a part of this rivalry as well. I wonder if anybody's going to pretend to be a peeing dog this year. Whatever other crazy things have happened in the Egg Bowl. But, yeah, this is always a must-watch.
It's two good football teams, you know?
It is.
Mississippi State's beating some good people.
I really didn't mind the peeing dog thing, but
I'm just saying that the
quality trash talk.
This is one of those games where even with two good teams, like the coaching matchup is still more interesting than those two teams.
Exactly.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah. Number 2, the game, Michigan and Ohio State.
Number 2?
Number 2.
Oh, okay.
Hey. Number 2. Look, this one's big for, and we heard Angelique Shingelis earlier. She said it. There's a very high likelihood that after this game, Jim Harbaugh will be 10-2. And Michigan fans should be thrilled with 10-2. The problem is the 2. It's Michigan State and Ohio State. Yep. So this is really intriguing that if he can get this done, they'll put themselves in the college football playoff more than likely, should they win, again, the Big 12 title game or the Big 10 title game the next week. But if not, this will just be another data point for Ohio State as they move on towards what inevitably looks like them back in the playoff.
This is if you were the coach at Texas and you lost every year to Oklahoma and Texas A&M and went 10-2.
Yeah.
You would be really, really good, but you wouldn't be there very long because that's just not acceptable. Although they beg for those days down in Austin right now.
Well, I'd be interested to know who they're going to get, who's going to do that. Who's going to win 10 games and beat Ohio State that you think you're going to go and get.
There you go.
And I know that with all these coaching jobs opening up, that Jim Harbaugh would be a very quick call for a whole lot of schools if that were to be the case. But,
and some NFL teams.
Yeah, too. Lloyd Carr ain't walking through that door.
No.
Okay. Or Bo
Schembechler. Yeah. Number 1, Bedlam. This is probably the last time this game's going to be played in Stillwater for the foreseeable future. Maybe they get it worked out. It doesn't seem like that's in the offing once OU leaves for the SEC. And even if they do get it worked out, one would think that it would be one of those things that 10 years from now they find openings on the schedule and sign a contract. But this is huge in the fact that Oklahoma State has not won this in a while. Craig said yesterday on the show that nobody on the Oklahoma State roster, no matter how super a senior you are, has experienced a win over Oklahoma. There is a specter around it. But right now, Oklahoma State is the better team. Yeah, and Oklahoma State should win this game. And if they don't, I would think that the ghost of Oklahoma past is maybe one of the things that chumps up and bites them.
Yeah, unless there's like some 8th-year senior that I missed out on. No, they have not experienced a win in that series. Oklahoma, it's like Tim just said too. It's not piling on to say that Oklahoma's owned this series. It's just straight facts. But this does have a different feel this year. Some people would probably say Ohio State, Michigan's bigger, but I think Bedlam is just fine at number 1. There's a lot of impact coming out of this game, and I think at night in Stillwater is going to make it a really juicy matchup. I'm very curious to see how this game goes down. Ohio State, Michigan will probably be the sexier game to watch, I would think, but then again, maybe not. I'm just thinking of Ohio State's offense versus these other offenses. They are far and away the better offense of the 4. But this one right here, this should get nasty, and I'm looking forward to it.
As we cover Baylor and Texas Tech, keeping an eye on Ohio State and Michigan, and getting to go home just in time to watch Bedlam, along with a few others, will be fantastic. Paul, great stuff as always, man.